I wonder whether some of us are like that in our Christian life. When you first came into the church, some of us in the room grew up in church, but some came to faith later. But maybe the beginning of your Christian life, you felt like this is an adventure. This is amazing. This is so exciting. And you're looking around and, you're seeing the things that are happening in the church and you're excited. But somewhere along the line, you began to go numb. Somewhere along the line, the adventure became less an adventure and more of a hard slog. And you began to say, I think I'm very disappointed with church. And you know what kept me going on the way to Kampala? The thing that kept me going on the way to Kampala was this. I knew why I was going, and I knew the destination, because the destination matters more than the quality of the journey. Amen? You see, you can have a fantastic journey, but if the destination is no good, then the journey then becomes irrelevant. Someone was telling me the other day they went on holiday. Actually, it was their honeymoon. My sister went on her honeymoon, and was it my sister who told us that it rained the whole time or something, wasn't it? Yeah, so they had a fantastic holiday booked. They got on I'm sure, a very nice flight with all the bells and whistles and things that get added to such a trip on your honeymoon. It was beautiful, but there was a problem with the destination. And that's really what we're learning here, is that church is about a destination. It's not just about where you are, it's about where you're going. And a vision of eternity is so important. A vision of the future is so important to carry us on the journey as we go on this journey with God. To understand what the plan of God is for our lives as individuals and our lives together as a church. As we go on this journey together with God, I'm reminded of the ministry of Jesus. You see, Jesus, when he was walking this earth, you see a lot of good things he did, didn't he, on his journey? Did you see that? You see how it says in Acts 10, he went about doing good and healing all who were oppressed of the devil. What amazing things he did for people. What amazing things. What an amazing thing for that widow who was carrying her son to be buried, and Jesus raised him from the dead. As a pastor, those are the kind of funerals I want to be a part of. I want to be part of those funerals where we never make it to the graveside, where we say, okay, he's been raised, we better turn back. That's the kind of funeral I want to be a part of. Look at Lazarus and how he raised him. Look at all the people that were healed. Look at the encouragement that Jesus gave people when he said, whatsoever you see in heaven, you'll see on earth. When he said to people, if you speak believing that, what you say will come to pass. What amazing being at the wedding in Cana and Galilee, where Jesus broke all the Pentecostal rules and turned 300 gallons of water into wine. What an amazing thing to see. What an amazing thing to see Jesus healing people, doing miracles. What an amazing thing to see. What an amazing thing to see the feeding of the 5,000. There's so many good things that Jesus did. And we can stay there, but Jesus is also the Jesus that said, take up your cross and follow me. Jesus is also the Jesus that not only celebrated that wedding, but also set his face like flint for Jerusalem, because he knew that he had to go somewhere. He knew that the journey wasn't the only thing. He knew that he had a mission, and that mission had to meet with the cross. That's a really good illustration of the Christian life. There are times when Jesus is going to bless your socks off. I pray that the time when Jesus blesses your socks off might be this week. I pray that this week you see Jesus bless your socks off. But let me tell you, there is that time when you go numb. There is that time when the suspension seems to be rocking you a bit too much, where the road is a little rough, where the potholes are a little too deep, where there's no air conditioning on the bus, where you're suffering a little. And those are the times when you have to remember that there is a destination where you are going, and it's not only about the journey.